And we'd like to see a world in which every person gets access to this type of basic testing.
In the world of entrepreneurship, technology, and healthcare, few stories are as captivating and ultimately as devastating as the rise and fall of a 19-year-old college dropout whose dream was to become a billionaire. She fraudulently convinced investors and was able to raise more than $700 million by promising Americans that her company's new device would let individuals draw a very small amount of blood and get accurate test results using their automated devices. She had a vision to revolutionize the medical testing industry, but it was a vision that would soon become one of the most infamous stories of deception and failure. This is the insane story of Elizabeth Holmes. On February 3rd, 1984, in Washington, D.C., a beautiful young girl was born who became known as Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth had a rather privileged upbringing. Her parents, Christian Rasmus Holmes IV and Noel Ann Daust, were well-respected figures in society. She grew up in a family that had some sort of influence in society, which explains why she was able to convince the first set of investors to pour money into her blood testing technology idea. As a child, Holmes was referred to as a math whiz, and she was always fascinated by technology and business. She attended the prestigious St. John's School in Houston, Texas, which is a private college preparatory school, before furthering her education at Stanford University and eventually dropping out in her second year at the age of 19 to build this company. Inspired by her fear of needles and the inconvenience of traditional blood tests, Elizabeth had a brilliant idea to start a company that developed a wearable patch that could adjust the dosage of drug delivery and notify doctors of variables in patients' blood. While in school, she shared this idea with one of Stanford's professors, and his reply was, "Nope, I don't think your idea is going to work." He wasn't the only one who shared his negative opinion about her idea, but several individuals did. After such critics, one expects Elizabeth to drop her delusions and focus on her studies in college. However, she saw these critics as an opportunity to prove everyone wrong and go to any lengths to show the world she was right. She decided to name this company Real-Time Cures, but later changed the name because she was concerned about the word cure and how it would be received by the audience, knowing she had no background in medicine. She later came up with a name for what is known as present-day Theranos in 2003, which is a combination of therapy and diagnosis. As a chemical engineering major, she conceptualized a lab-on-chip technology capable of conducting a wide range of tests using a mere few drops of blood, which will make it cheaper and more convenient for the average American. As stated earlier, Elizabeth dropped out of college, and she took a step further by using her trust fund to start Theranos. With strong support from her parents, Holmes embarked on her journey to make healthcare more affordable and accessible. Elizabeth later gained the idea of a pinprick blood test, which would help many carry out numerous health-related tests with just a single blood sample. She wanted to eradicate the idea of invasive blood tests with needles and some tests requiring larger vials of blood, and replace it with a technology that will help individuals carry out tests faster, get quicker results, and help them detect any health issues before it becomes too late. She added in a 2014 TED Talk, "We see a world in which no one ever has to say, 'If only I'd known sooner.' A world in which no one ever has to say goodbye too soon." Theranos technology explained to the American population that all they had to do was prick a finger, and this small quantity of blood would be placed into a tiny 1 centimeter vial, call it a nanotainer. This was inspired by the 2005 iPod Nano created by Steve Jobs. It was later revealed that Elizabeth looked up to Steve Jobs as her mentor and hero, and she desired nothing else in the world but to look and be like him. It was reported that she started dressing like him and talking in a deeper tone that mimicked Steve Jobs. Anyways, back to the technology. This very small, finger-pricked amount of blood would then be analyzed by a secretive device called the Edison, which could run up to 200 tests on it, it was claimed, as evidenced by this Wayback Machine cache of what Theranos offered at the time. Central to her vision and the development of the Edison technology, which was named after Thomas Edison. The Edison was hailed as a game-changer, capable of conducting a wide range of tests, from cholesterol to cancer, using a single drop of blood. However, the reality concealed a major flaw. It consistently delivered inaccurate results, endangering patient health. Theranos also introduced other devices, such as the NanoLab and the MiniLab, intended to be portable blood testing machines, but they too proved to be unreliable and unapproved by the FDA. The hope was to provide quick and easy access to blood testing, particularly in remote locations like developing countries, but the technology fell short of expectations. The company utilized a machine known as the vanity box to analyze blood samples, but its accuracy and reliability remained uncertain. Additionally, traditional lab equipment like centrifuges and blood analyzers was employed alongside these devices. Theranos claimed to automate and miniaturize blood tests, boasting the ability to conduct over 240 different tests with just a single pinprick of blood. However, this promise faced a fundamental problem. The equipment required a specific volume of blood, leading to the necessity of diluting the blood samples, compromising the accuracy of the results. With these ideas in hand, Elizabeth set out to raise funds for her ambitious venture. She managed to secure investments from prominent individuals, including venture capitalists and many high-profile investors, such as Rupert Murdoch and even members of the Walton family, who were heirs to the Walmart fortune during the early years of Theranos. Through her persuasive pitch and promises of groundbreaking technology, Elizabeth amassed a significant amount of capital, valuing Theranos at billions of dollars. She often used the idea of democratizing healthcare and making it accessible to everyone to sell her vision. She was a good storyteller. She was able to use emotional stories and her charisma to captivate many investors who believed in her and were ready to support her. She even told the emotional story of how her uncle died of cancer and how she was so affected by the death, and that it was one of the reasons behind Theranos which made people believe her more. But it was later discovered that Holmes wasn't even close to this said uncle of hers in any way, and that she only used his death as a story to blackmail people's emotions. By 2004, Theranos was valued at $30 million after raising $6.9 million from early investors. Theranos remained secretive about its groundbreaking Edison technology for years, growing in size and attracting substantial investor interest. In late 2013, the company revealed its fingerprick blood testing technology, partnering with Walgreens to establish wellness centers. By 2014, Theranos reached a staggering valuation of $9 billion, and Holmes was hailed as a visionary in the tech world, drawing comparisons to Steve Jobs. This marked the zenith of her journey in establishing Theranos as a revolutionary blood testing company. Elizabeth Holmes's tenure at Theranos was marked by a deeply flawed corporate culture characterized by secrecy, fear, and deception. She enforced intense work standards and frequently terminated employees who questioned her practices, compelling them to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, to maintain silence. When complaints arose, she created a second team to compete with the first, hiring inexperienced personnel. Experienced health workers' input was disregarded, despite their expertise. Threats of deportation were used to stifle dissent from foreign workers. Those who voiced concerns about inaccurate blood testing were summarily dismissed. NDAs were enforced on anyone entering the company, perpetuating silence. Holmes maintained a facade of innovation, but the reality was vastly different. The technology was flawed, and the work environment was toxic. Despite the mounting evidence against Theranos, Elizabeth managed to fool the world for a significant period. Several factors allowed Holmes to continue deceiving the world and keep investors interested in Theranos. One of the ways is that she had a powerful network of friends and allies who helped her promote the company. She was able to convince people that her technology was real, while it was fake. She was also able to use the media to spread her message and deflect any negative stories about the company. Elizabeth Holmes, through her marketing prowess, garnered a string of accolades and recognition, including Forbes' youngest self-made female billionaire. With adept storytelling, she shaped a narrative that portrayed Theranos as revolutionary, securing partnerships with major pharmacies and government agencies. Holmes skillfully cultivated influential allies, gracing the covers of Fortune, CNN, and other magazines with glowing articles. Her influence extended to politics, as President Barack Obama appointed her as a U.S. ambassador for global entrepreneurship. Holmes even delivered Pepperdine University's Global Commencement Address. Her achievements earned her the Horatio Alger Award for remarkable accomplishments through honesty and hard work. She held positions on the Board of Fellows at Harvard Medical School and was named one of Time's 100 most influential people. She was the subject of extensive features in The New Yorker and Fortune, appeared on magazine covers, and participated in prominent events like the Clinton Global Initiative, the World Economic Forum, and the Aspen Ideas Festival. Holmes's ability to market herself and Theranos led to a meteoric rise in influence and recognition. With such a portfolio, it won't be difficult for Elizabeth to convince new investors to trust her and pour in money for Theranos. As earlier stated, Elizabeth had managed to lock down a deal with Walgreens in which the retail company invested $140 million, and in 2013, Theranos opened 40 wellness centers inside stores in Arizona and sold more than 1.5 million blood tests to 176,000 people. To retrofit 800 sites with clinics that will provide in-store blood tests, Safeway invested $350 million in 2012. The agreement was terminated in 2015 due to numerous missed deadlines and dubious outcomes from a trial clinic held at Safeway's corporate headquarters. Both Pfizer and GlaxoSmithKline said in October 2015 that they had no ongoing initiatives with Theranos, despite reports that the company's blood tests were utilized on patients undergoing drug trials. Theranos and Walgreens' collaboration ended in June 2016. It filed a breach of contract lawsuit against Theranos in federal court in Delaware in November 2016. Theranos informed investors in June 2017 that the lawsuit, which had originally sought damages of $140 million, had been settled for less than $30 million. Cleveland Clinic and Theranos established a collaboration in March 2015 to test Theranos' technology and lower lab test costs. Theranos started providing lab services to Pennsylvania insurance companies, Capital Blue Cross, and AmeriHealth Caritas in July 2015. The FDA authorized the use of the company's fingerstick blood test for herpes simplex virus, HSV-1, outside of clinical laboratory settings in July 2015. Theranos was recognized by the Arizona Bioindustry Association, ASBIO, as the 2015 Bioscience Company of the Year. Throughout 2015 and 2016, Theranos was scrutinized by federal agencies, and its partnership with Walgreens ended. By mid-2016, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services banned Holmes from owning or operating a lab for 2 years. Elizabeth Holmes's personal life was intertwined with the complex dynamics of Theranos. She initially dated her former college roommate and Theranos worker, Dan Edlin, before entering into a secretive relationship with Sunny Balwani. Balwani, who lacked expertise in medicine and medical technology, served as Theranos' president in 2009, sparking criticism of his role. Their relationship was described as controlling and abusive, leading to speculation about Balwani's unhealthy influence on Holmes. In 2019, while still involved with Balwani, Holmes married Billy Evans, heir to the Evans Hotel Group. This romantic entanglement revealed a tumultuous personal life that contrasted with her public image, highlighting the complexities of her relationships both within and outside the company. Elizabeth Holmes's elaborate web of deception and fraud at Theranos faced an eventual reckoning, thanks to a collective effort by whistleblowers, investigative journalists, regulatory investigations, and the media. Her downfall began when courageous insiders and external critics decided to expose the company's lies. In 2015, an investigation by John Carreyrou of the Wall Street Journal questioned if the Theranos science ever worked. Theranos' chief scientist, Ian Gibbons, advised Elizabeth and the company after he realized that the company's machine and lab equipment were faulty and didn't provide accurate test results. He was, however, not taken seriously and was dismissed from work, while Elizabeth went ahead to lie to investors about his claims. She was giving faked and manipulated demonstrations to companies like Novartis in Switzerland by simply using competitor Siemens' commercial lab machinery. The Edison machine had never worked, and when confronted with this evidence in public, Holmes only doubled down on her lies. The human cost of Elizabeth's atrocities was quite appalling. It was said that her fake test results once told a pregnant woman she was miscarrying while still pregnant. This left her with so much fear, and she was only reassured by her gynecologist when she went for her checkup and was reassured of her pregnancy. Elizabeth was sued by the people of Arizona because of this. It was equally reported that other patients were given false HIV-positive tests to test patients with stage 3 and stage 4 cancer. Holmes asked one of her staff members to drive the Edison technology to an oncology unit. Holmes set up a 15-month research project starting in 2007 with knowledge of its fraudulent nature, measuring the response to therapy of 27 late-stage cancer patients using Theranos device monitoring. But action wasn't taken on Holmes until 2017. Theranos was forced to pay Arizona consumers $465 million under a consumer fraud settlement led by the Arizona attorney, and at a similar time, there was a settlement with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services after Theranos was found to pose an immediate jeopardy to consumers. What crimes was Elizabeth Holmes found guilty of, you may ask? Theranos and Holmes were accused by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, in 2018 of misleading investors using massive fraud by making false statements about their goods, including the U.S. Defense Department's use of them in combat. Holmes settled by returning 18.9 million shares to the business, paying a $500,000 fine, and receiving a 10-year prohibition from acting as a director of a publicly traded corporation. However, in the significant case of U.S. versus Holmes and others, which commenced in the same year, Holmes and Sunny Balwani, her business and personal partner, were charged with 9 wire fraud counts and 2 counts of conspiracy to conduct wire fraud with investors and patients as the victims. It took until January 2022 for the trial to conclude, with Holmes being found guilty on 4 counts of cheating investors. More importantly, though, for the people whose lives she destroyed by misdiagnosing illnesses, Holmes was found not guilty of defrauding patients. She will be sentenced, alongside Sunny Balwani, on September 26 of this year, and could face 20 years in prison, along with millions of dollars in fines. In keeping with her demeanor throughout the whole saga, Elizabeth Holmes has pleaded not guilty. Regulatory investigations conducted by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, further scrutinized Theranos, shedding light on the extent of its deception. Former employees who had witnessed the company's deceptive practices began speaking out about their experiences, adding to the mounting evidence against Theranos. The media played a vital role in amplifying the revelations, giving voice to the stories of those wronged by Theranos, and contributing to the public's understanding of the company's fraudulent activities. Elizabeth Holmes was convicted on 3 charges of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud on January 3, 2022. In November 2022, she received a prison sentence of 11 years and 3 months. Holmes started her sentence at the federal prison camp in Texas on May 30, 2023. Balwani's trial started in March 2022, and in July of that same year, he was found guilty of 12 charges of fraud. He was given a 12-year, 11-month prison sentence, along with 3 years of probation in December. The Theranos saga serves as a stark reminder of the perils of sacrificing ethics and accuracy in the pursuit of innovation. Elizabeth's story stands as a cautionary tale in Silicon Valley, emphasizing the importance of integrity and accountability in innovation. The Theranos narrative, once a symbol of ambition, now serves as a warning about the consequences of deception and the necessity of building success on a foundation of truth and integrity. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.